What's up, Nabs? It's Platinum TDX, the Dragon Xtreme. Oh god. And welcome to another video. So today's topic, as seen in the title below, above. Whoa, why is it below? As seen in the title above, can you actually judge a game based on gameplay alone? Or basically, can you judge a game without playing it? So, I'm gonna say, from my experiences judging games, like usually I judge a game and go in with lower expectations than what I would usually like to have, and then usually I'm either surprised or either I'm like, yep, okay, I was right. So, specifically Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Now, a lot of you guys have been seeing a lot of Dragon Ball Xenoverse content around my channel, but that's because Xenoverse is coming. Like, guys, it's real. It's gonna come. But here's the reason why I believe that you can judge a game based on gameplay alone. So, every year they release a Call of Duty. Judging from the gameplay alone, I knew I wasn't gonna buy Ghosts because the game looked unfinished. It looked very clunky. And overall, the graphics looked really dulled out, like there was no color. So I didn't really want to buy it. And when I got it for free, I actually played it a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, no, uninstalling that shit. So, waste of an hour of my life downloading that 50 gigabyte game, or however big it was. Then Advanced Warfare came along. I was looking at the gameplay trailer, saw the multiplayer reveal. I'm like, it looks okay. I mean, I might give it a try. I'm not going to pay full price for it, though. I'm going to go in G2A and get it. Little did I know, someone on my Steam friend list hooked me up with the game, and I got Advanced Warfare for free. And I played it, and it was pretty good. It was okay, as I expected. I wasn't expecting anything crazy like Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1 was one of the most spectacular Call of Duty games in the franchise. Now, going to Dragon Ball Z games, I really didn't have that much experience with Dragon Ball Z games after BT3. Burst Limit I was sort of uninterested in, because after playing Budokai Tenkaichis, I was accustomed to the 3D format, and I didn't really want to go back to the 2D format. I didn't really like it for Dragon Ball Z at that time, and especially since I was a little kid. So I kind of overlooked Burst Limit, especially since I found out it ended at the Cell Saga. So I was like, why would I go back to an era where I have to only play up to Cell when I can play BT3 or Budokai 3 right now and fight Majin Buu? So, especially since Burst Limit's combat system wasn't drastically different from Budokai 3. Heard about Infinite World, but I didn't feel like getting it. I liked my 3D format. So, I judged games based off of their gameplay mechanics, judging whether I would like them or not. And I didn't really like Burst Limit as a whole, but when I actually got it, I enjoyed it for a little bit. But as I expected, my overall drive for playing the game went down, because it wasn't really fun to me at that point. So I stopped playing it. And just recently, I went into Infinite World with high expectations, and it succeeded. I've heard a lot of good things about it. It looked really good for, like, its kind of fighting. So I wanted to try it out, and it seemed like a very good Dragon Ball Z game, and I tried it out, and it was amazing. It was the best 2D fighting Dragon Ball Z game on the planet. Better than Burst Limit. I don't care what anyone says. If you say Burst Limit's better than Infinite World, you're only looking at the graphics, and the graphics aren't even that damn good. So, yeah, let's be real here. Infinite World was a killer. That was the Budokai 3 killer. That was the Burst Limit killer. That should have been in the place of Burst Limit, with that roster, with the cutscenes, everything. If you notice, the cutscenes did look like Burst Limit. They did look like Burst Limit graphics, but dumbed down for the PS2. So that's how you know that, firstly, it came out after Burst Limit. Secondly, It was released on the PS2. Like, why couldn't they release that and release it for both PS2 and the current gen? I mean, last gen now. So that would have been much better. But, you know, dimps, not thinking. Hello. So, yeah. I went in with high expectations and succeeded with that game. Now, moving on to the next game. Didn't really know about Raging Blast or Raging Blast 2 until after I met Mega Man, which was after 2012, which was after Ultimate Tenkaichi came out. I played Ultimate Tenkaichi before I played Raging Blast, and I played that in 2012 before I met Mega Man, and it was over my cousin's house, and I'm glad I didn't buy that game. He was telling me how it was fun to play for like a couple of minutes, and then after that it got repetitive, and I'm like, let's play it. So we played it, and I went in with low expectations, was not surprised whatsoever. The graphics, on the other hand, were beautiful. The effects, the cutscenes, the animations, on spot. But the gameplay was not there for me. It was more so one of those things where you gotta be looking and awing like, but you can't play it. Which is why it's good for fan films. So, moving on to Raging Blast and Raging Blast 2. Went into Raging Blast, it was fun, and I had high hopes because I saw Spike on it, and I remember seeing Spike on the Tenkaichi cases. So I was like, maybe this is like Tenkaichi. Popped it in, it was just like Tenkaichi 1. Well, in a sense, because you know how Tenkaichi 1 started off with the bare bones battle system, and now Raging Blast 1 started off with the bare bones battle system. And then I saw Raging Blast 2 on the shelf a couple months later after Mega Man was like, hey, get Raging Blast 2 for PS3. Like, why do you have it for, why do you have Raging Blast 1? Get 2. I'm like, I didn't even know it was 2 out. Got 2, and I was like, this reminds me so much of BT2, and BT3. And I had a blast with it, and to this day, I still have fun with it. Even though Mega Man and I call Raging Blast 1 Bullshit Blast, and we call Raging Blast 2 Raging Shit Blast, because it bullshits a lot, but we still have fun on it. And my point there is, my expectations vary from game to game. So the next Dragon Ball Z game to come out was Battle of Z. I didn't really like Battle of Z, the way it looked, the way it appealed, but the trailers were so hype that I was like, wow, this game could actually be really good. And then I noticed, I started watching the trailer a little bit more and more, and I was like, wait, there's something wrong with the game. And mind you, this was a couple of days before the game came out, which is, actually no, it was about a week or two, right before they released the demo. So I was like, maybe. This game looks like it's gonna flop. Like, the art style wasn't that good. It doesn't look fluid. It looks clunky. Played the demo. Damn sure was clunky. Damn sure was ugly looking. So far I've been on point with Dragon Ball Z expectations up until Xenoverse. Now, I'm gonna say I was half right with it. The main point, can you judge a game based on gameplay? I judged my game based off of a trailer. And what little gameplay they gave us, which was the Japan Expo. Then they gave us the network test. And after seeing people like Rhymestyle upload videos about it, started watching it, I'm like, looks like Battle of Z2. And to this day, I can still see why people say that it looks like it without playing it. But I also see where it actually has the similarities in the combat system, but I also see where it doesn't. Hear me out. So, in Xenoverse, I got to play the American network test, and I uploaded a video afterwards saying that I was fairly impressed with the game, and my expectations were pretty much wrong. But reviewing on what I actually said, they weren't all the way wrong. The combat system does still look a little floaty. It does look off-center a little. The flashy attacks are still there, which means, by flashy attacks, I don't mean like, oh my god, that's awesome. I mean, when you hit someone, the sparks that come out, the flashes, they're way too big. Like, why are they even there, really? They should only be there for like moves like Super God Fist or like the last finishing blow when you knock them away. That's the only part where they should be there. So they haven't changed a lot of the things that really would like to have been changed, besides the combat system, which I knew was gonna get fixed, because they're not gonna release a network test and be like, here's the awesome combat system, but shitty everything else. No, they fixed the combat system. They fixed the floaty combat system. It's still a little bit off center. I could see it a little bit in the videos, but you can definitely get your attacks landed now, and it's a lot more fluid, especially with the new gameplay of like Ultimate Gohan and Super Buu and Cell. Yeah, it looks a lot more fluid. So it looks spectacular, actually. But you can still see where people will be like, oh, this is Battle of Z2. But you can't just immediately dismiss them as either trolls or just idiots, because you're judging it off of gameplay. So my point is, can you judge it off of gameplay? I don't think you can judge Xenoverse off of gameplay, but usually with most games you can judge games off of gameplay, because the gameplay, you could put yourself in the person's shoes, because it's just a controller. So when you're actually watching the video, like say you're watching Street Fighter, and you notice that Street Fighter 4 is a little bit more clunkier than Street Fighter 3. Not saying that it is, because I'm not a big Street Fighter guy. I'm just using it as an example. So you're like, it looks a little stiff. You turn it up to 60 FPS on YouTube. That's an option now. And it still looks a little stiff. Maybe they'll fix that animation. You played the demo. Wow, they didn't fix it. Demo is almost a complete game. You don't change almost anything from there except for like minor stability errors. You don't go back and change network coding, animation, unless you delay the game, because that's a design error. So they have to go back and fix that shit. So usually by the time the demo comes out, they're done the game. They're gonna be like, oh man, we forgot to add in this picture for a certain part. Okay, let's add in that picture. But they're not gonna go back and change a whole animation for a character, because that requires more rigging. So you really can judge certain games with gameplay, but Xenoverse you can't really judge, because you don't have anything to base it off of. You don't have any comparable knowledge. So Xenoverse is a almost completely different league of Dragon Ball Z games now. This is the new era. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this is the new era of Dragon Ball Z games. You can't judge Xenoverse. Like, comparing Xenoverse with other games is not idiotic, but it's kind of, it's unnecessary, because you can't really, like, especially with Dimps going from the transitions from 2D to 3D, you have to at least try it, because Dimps has made nothing but good fighting games. So you can't really judge Xenoverse. I would say at least give it a go. Maybe rent it, maybe play a demo if they come out with one, play it at a friend's house, or maybe even just pick the game up if you like Dragon Ball Z. But I would say you can't judge Xenoverse off of gameplay. You have to play it for yourself, because you can't put yourself in another person's shoes because of how bad the game is. Well, not the game, Jesus, no. Not how bad the people playing the games are. Because with Raging Blast there was like a similar combat system throughout the characters, so you could sort of get used to it. But Xenoverse, almost every character is different, quote unquote, because it's still 3D, you still have to have your, yeah. But almost every character is quote unquote different, and you have to feel out the character. And you can't really judge that from another person's perspective. Even if you can just imagine the controller in your hands. Firstly, the controls on that game are clunky as fuck. I don't care what anyone says. It's clunky. But you can get used to it. It's not like clunky like DayZ clunky. So, but yeah, you can definitely get used to it, and you can definitely like the game. But you have to play it for yourself. It's not the same. So, Xenoverse gameplay, you cannot judge it off of gameplay. You have to play it for yourself. Mostly any other thing goes. My name's PlatinumTDX, the Dragon Xtreme. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, leave a like. Also, comment down below on your thoughts on this video. Try to keep it constructive. I really want to get a debate started. So, yeah. Bye.